16-year-old has been charged with the murder of another teenager and another man who was a West Philadelphia rapper. The teen also faces charges in 4 other shootings just last month. District Attorney Larry Krasner announced the arrest of Aiden Waters today. Prosecutors say he killed 25-year-old Abdul Vicks on North Fairhill Street last month. Waters is also accused of shooting into a car filled with teens just a few days before. In that shooting on East Duncannon Street, a 16-year-old was killed.
Aiden Waters, Philly's 16-year-old terror, just turned the city's rap game into a real-life GTA mission. This babyface shooter, who went from ESPN cover boy to alleged hitman, is now at the center of the wildest story in the streets. YBC Dull, the self-proclaimed Mr. Disrespectful, found out the hard way that some bars are too hot for the booth. From courtroom breakdowns to secret payoffs, this story's got plenty of twists. Yo, let's set the scene on how it all began. It's broad daylight in Philly, August 23rd. The sun's beating down, people going about their day, and YBC Dul, real name Abdul Vicks, is sitting in his whip. Now Dul probably thought he was untouchable, riding around his hood like he owned the place. But in these streets, nobody's really safe.
While a separate shooting left a local rapper dead, who police say is affiliated with a known street group.
Next thing you know, shots ring out. A white Kia rolls up smooth, and before anyone can even blink, it's curtains for Dull. We're talking a real professional hit, not some amateur hour stuff. This wasn't just another street beef gone wrong or some random act of violence. Nah, this is some next-level calculated stuff that's got everyone from the streets to the precinct on high alert. The cops say it went down on the 5600 block of North 6th Street, right in the heart of the 35th District. That's Dull's turf, where he thought he was king. But as we all know, in this game, your throne's always up for grabs. Now let me put you on game about Aiden Waters. This kid ain't your average teenage troublemaker, stealing cars or tagging walls. We're talking about a 16-year-old who went from being on the cover of ESPN magazine at 7 to allegedly becoming Philly's most feared young hitman. Talk about a fall from grace. The cops say this kid's got a whole week of mayhem on his resume. We're not just talking about one incident that got out of hand. Nah, we're talking multiple shootings, 2 bodies, and 8 attempted murders, all in 5 days. Let that sink in for a minute. Most kids his age are worrying about homework and crushes, but Aiden's out here allegedly stacking bodies like it's nothing.
Teenager is charged with murder in connection to several homicides and shootings that happened last month in North Philadelphia. They happened at 3 different locations between August 18th and 23rd. One of them was a shooting death of a gang leader in West Philadelphia and a rapper named Abdul Vicks. Investigators were able to link a Hyundai Sonata to 2 of the scenes. The DA's office says that's what led them to the suspect.
But here's the thing that's got everyone scratching their heads. This was Aiden's first arrest. No juvie record, no priors, nothing. It's like he went from 0 to 100 real quick, skipped all the small-time stuff and went straight for the big leagues. That's the kind of thing that keeps detectives up at night, trying to figure out what flipped the switch in this kid's head. Here's where things get real interesting. Word on the street is, Aiden broke down in court. We're talking full-on waterworks, the kind of scene you'd expect in a movie, not a real-life courtroom. But it wasn't just tears. This kid started spilling tea about how he was paid to take out Dull. Now, we don't know all the details yet, but if this is true, we're looking at a whole different ballgame. We're not just talking about some kid with a grudge or trying to make a name for himself. Nah, we're talking organized hits, the kind of stuff that goes way beyond street beef. If Aiden's telling the truth about being paid, that opens up a whole new can of worms. Who's behind this? How deep does this go? Is there some bigger player pulling strings in Philly's underworld? These are the questions that are keeping everyone from the streets to the DA's office on edge. The evidence stacked up. Listen, the cops ain't playing around with this case. They've got more receipts than a shopaholic after Black Friday. We're talking surveillance footage that caught the whole thing going down. They've got ballistics evidence linking the guns to multiple crime scenes. Fingerprints all over the place, including on the burned-out getaway car.
The sound coming from this surveillance video, and it shows the moments someone in a white Hyundai Santa Fe pulled alongside an SUV and opened fire. According to Philadelphia police, the deadly shooting claimed the life of Abdul Vicks, also known as Young Dul.
But here's where Aiden really messed up. He made some sloppy phone calls to his homies in jail. This kid was bragging about his slam dunks and scrimmages like he was talking about a pickup game, not bodies dropping in the streets. He thought he was being slick using code words, but come on. It don't take a genius to figure out what he was really saying. The cops were listening in, piecing it all together. Every word this kid said was another nail in his own coffin. It's like he handed them the case on a silver platter. Now let's talk about why YBC Dull might have been a target. This dude wasn't just another rapper trying to make it big. Nah, he was known as Mr. Disrespectful for a reason. Dull wasn't just talking smack in his tracks. He was out here doing the most wild stuff you could imagine.
I'm tapping in with the most disrespectful rapper, person, human being on the planet, YBC Dul, aka Mr. Disrespectful.
We're talking about a dude who allegedly dug up an op's grave. Yeah, you heard that right. He didn't stop there either. Word is, he put bodies in his music videos. That's some next level disrespect that goes beyond just music beef. When you're doing stuff like that, you're not just making enemies, you're putting a target on your own back.
No fucking tombstone, everything is fucking dirt up. Hey yo, where the fuck Carney at, yo? Carney, where the fuck you at, ah?
In his last interview, Dull was out here flexing, talking about how he and his crew tortured the whole hood. He was bragging about how nobody comes outside when they're around, how they've got blocks looking like ghost towns. That kind of talk might sound hard in a track, but in real life, it's the kind of thing that gets people plotting on you.
What was going on in that other video? I saw people saying it wasn't even you in the video.
What video?
The video with the shovel in the graveyard?
They said that wasn't me.
I saw some people saying it wasn't you, but it looked like you. You have a certain silhouette. You got like very skinny legs.
Yeah. You knew that was me, bro.
So what were you doing that day? It was like one of the most disrespectful things I ever seen.
I was, bro, trying to find that grave. He ain't got one though. They ain't never getting one.
Here's a plot twist for you. Aiden's allegedly tied to a crew called Fast Break. Now these ain't the big dogs in Philly's street game. They're like the little brothers of a bigger gang called M24. Fast Break is mostly known for operating in the Olney neighborhood, but they've been trying to make a name for themselves. But here's the kicker, and this is what's got everyone scratching their heads. The cops say they can't find a solid connection between Aiden's crew and Dull. There's no obvious beef, no territory disputes, nothing that would explain why Fast Break would want Dull taken out. So why'd he do it? The cops are thinking it might have just been for the clout. Imagine that, taking a life just to say you did it, just to make a name for yourself in the streets. It's a cold world out there, for real.
He faces attempted murder, aggravated assault, and gun charges.
It's called clout chasing, is what we call it. It's what everyone calls it, I guess. You're looking for notoriety. You're looking to make a name for yourself.
Prosecutors say the guns used in the killings were illegal and one had a switch installed, allowing for multiple shots with one squeeze of the trigger. Prosecutors are urging parents to search their children's rooms for guns.
When the cops raided Aiden's crib, they hit the jackpot. We're not talking about a little .22 hidden under the mattress. Nah, we're talking serious hardware. They found a 10mm Glock with a red switch. For those who don't know, that's some automatic fire right there. The kind of thing that can spray a whole clip in seconds. But that's not all. They also found the 9mm that allegedly took out Dull. This kid was strapped up like he was ready for war, not like some teenager who should be worrying about prom and college applications. What's even crazier is where they found this stuff. The 10mm was just chilling on Aiden's bed, like it was no big deal. The 9mm was down in the basement. It's like this kid wasn't even trying to hide it. Either he thought he was untouchable, or he just didn't care about getting caught.
A small group of young people in the city of Philadelphia made a decision to hold a gun, to point a gun at another human being and pull the trigger.
Now, let's talk about what's next for Aiden. This kid's facing a mountain of charges. We're talking murder, attempted murder, gun charges, the works. The DA's office is coming at him with everything they've got. And get this, it's his first time getting booked. Went from 0 to 100 real quick. No juvie record, no priors, nothing. Just straight to the big leagues of crime. The big question now is, will they try him as an adult? Because if they do, this kid might never see the outside again. We're talking life in prison, for real. At 16 years old, his whole life could be over before it even really began. But here's where it gets tricky. If what they're saying about him being paid to do the hit is true, that could change things. Fans are speculating that Aiden might have been a hired gun. I mean, he paid $100 for someone to steal a KIA. What were the odds that it wasn't part of his purse money? I mean, think about it. No beef with Dull, mysterious calls to the pen, and a hit that came out of nowhere. It might mean he wasn't the mastermind, that there are bigger fish to fry. The streets are talking, yo. This case has got everyone from Twitter fingers to corner store philosophers weighing in. The reactions are coming in hot, and they're all over the place. One person hit the nail on the head saying, there is little hope for these kids who grow up without any parental supervision at all. The parents are often just as bad or worse. Real talk. It's got people thinking about how we got here, with kids barely old enough to drive out here, allegedly catching bodies. But check this. Another fan's not buying the whole story. They dropped this bomb. Dull had OPS in every freaking neighborhood, but this kid is the one who killed him? A no-name 16-yo? Straight up, it's got people scratching their heads. Dull was beefing with half of Philly, but it's some random teenager who allegedly took him out? Something ain't adding up. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think is really going down in Philly streets? Is Aiden just a pawn in a bigger game? Or is this just another case of the streets claiming our youth? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about all this madness. And yo, if you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay in the loop on all the latest street news, smash that like and subscribe button.